What is up, guys? How we doing? Today we're going to talk about something serious. Before we get to that, I do want to give a quick shout out to those of you that showed up to the stream last night. Thank you very much. I'm sorry that my chat's such a bitch. I know it's annoying and frustrating to deal with, but it means a lot that you tuned in. It means a lot if you tune in after. It just means a lot for the extra support, and it really does. It's like a childhood dream of mine in a way to, I don't know, have people so interested in wanting to hang out with me that they're watching just me play a game and chat with me and asking me things about my life. You guys mean a lot. Your support continues to mean a lot. And we're at 110 subscribers, baby. Hell yeah. 110. I thought we were broke there for a minute. We were staying at 104. Every time we got one, we lost one, but 110. It's all you guys. It's all you. But today, I wanted to talk about something serious. So, I had somebody comment, had the bravery to comment on a video yesterday asking me if I would talk about what it would be like to be transgender and how, as a straight white male, as a cis male, which cis is someone's whose gender aligns with their sex, right? So how, as a straight male, straight white cis male, how outcomes in my life might have been affected by being transgender. Which kind of broke my brain when he asked me that. And for an entire day, I have been sitting here trying to think of the answer to that question. But not only did this person ask me this and to make a video about it, but what really stood out to me is they said they wanted to just open the door to have that conversation for people to be more tolerant and more kind to others. They said, and I quote, "Overall, the conversation opens doors really to just become more gentle towards others. More considerate, I guess, which is good since, in my opinion, a lot of people in society in general are becoming more inclined to be hurtful." Do you know how strong somebody must be to say that? To endure a life of prejudice and to just want to open the door to have that conversation? See, my first gut instinct was to do what I do when making political videos, which is what they just said. Being inclined to be just hurtful. When I make a political video, I'm going for the jugular. This person doesn't want that. They just want to have that conversation. They just want to, I don't know, be treated like a normal fucking human being. Which shows that he is a bigger man than I, because if I got treated the way trans people got treated, I would be coming for your throats. So I promised him that I would put kindness above anything else. That unlike most of my political videos where I just sit here and shout about the prejudice that goes on in this country, that I would just talk about the facts and try to answer that question. Oh yeah, and the fact is this isn't even political. Stating trans people exist isn't politics. That's just a fact. So I'm going to try to answer that question, and then we'll go over some facts. Okay? If that interests you, stick around. If that immediately pisses you off and makes your goddamn face turn red, then I guess this isn't the video for you. So, as a kid, I've yet to talk about my childhood on here. I grew up in a very, very, very conservative, racist household. 13 different dudes, dude. All worse than the next, except for 2 of them. And they were all super racist, super horrible. And picture the shit that you see on TV. I know when you see a racist person on TV, you might think they're exaggerating it, but that's how it is. And Just got told the worst of the worst, and just the most disgusting things that I don't even want to repeat on here and have mentally stuck with me. And I got berated because as an 8-year-old boy, even I knew these comments were wrong. And whenever I would hear a dude saying N-word this, N-word that, I would say, that's not right. This isn't right. This doesn't, what you're saying isn't okay. And then would just get berated and bullied by my mother's boyfriends, and I got berated my entire childhood for standing up against racism. And so when I try to answer the question of how would being trans have a different outcome, to be honest with you, I think the answer is underwhelming because I don't see it being much different. I think I would have gotten bullied even worse, but I was already treated like shit because of the fact that I already politically disagreed with them. Not even politically disagreed with them. I don't think it's political to disagree with saying the N-word. I don't think you have to be left-leaning to say, hey, that's wrong. People are people. Fuck you for what you're saying. But then I realized that I'm thinking too far back. Think about now. How many times have I talked about being on Uber and picking up a black customer and they have a very low rating for no reason other than they're black or Hispanic? Or how many times have I talked about I've been waiting tables and forced into a political discussion because I was wearing a mask and then told it's impossible for my baby to get it by the guy forcing his agenda. Then I go home, research it. Obviously, that's not true. And then my kid got it a week later and got stiffed on a $200 tab. Or how about all the times I've talked about where, I've had people get into my car and then try to force me into a political discussion. I try to stay neutral, and then whenever I give them an honest answer, I get 1 star. So you imagine that environment. Think about being trans. I bet you I'd get fired. I bet you I would get 1 starred into oblivion. I bet you as a server, I would constantly get bad reviews and constantly get stiffed no matter how good my service is. And I guarantee you as an Uber rider, since somebody can 1-star you for whatever reason, I would constantly get 1-starred, and once you get to a certain point, you would lose your job. And I want you to think about that for a second. A single father, if I was trans, would probably lose my job, even though I do the job well, just because I was trans. And I know we're talking about hypotheticals here, but considering I already get 1 stars as a straight white male for simply not sucking off Trump's taint like the customer wants me to, I could only imagine what it would be like to be trans and have to sit next to them forcing me into political discussions, let alone having a child in the back. They would probably sit here and condemn me for being that way and having a kid, because that's really how rude and awful people are. So when I think of my life, and especially today, how being a trans person in today's world, at least in the state that I live in, how that would have different outcomes, that's what I honestly believe. I think I would be jobless right now. I think I would get hated everywhere I go. We hardly have any black people here. We hardly have any gay people here. And here's the facts, okay? Sexual orientation is a spectrum. Nobody's 100% straight, nobody's 100% gay. If you're telling me you've never had a gay thought, you're lying. You're lying, and you probably had more than most. And the thing is you shouldn't feel the need to lie or feel ashamed about that, because that's perfectly normal. That's a perfectly normal thing for a teenager to go through. To wonder what their sexual orientation is, to wonder who they are, and find themselves. Being transgender is normal. And I hate the, I don't believe it, I don't believe it, you might as well say the earth is flat, because what you're saying is I don't believe in facts. And there's nothing more arrogant than being prejudiced because you don't want to believe in facts. And a month ago, my grandmother said to me that Trump's gonna get all that woke crap out of the schools. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean he's gonna get the woke crap out of the schools? Oh, well, they're teaching kids about transgenders and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. So, transgenders exist. Gay people exist. It's probably about time they start teaching about that. Because the reason why transgenders and gay people are continued to be hated to this day is because people don't understand it because they're not taught about it. And she was trying to shape it as if first graders were being taught this shit, and that's just not true. So they don't get it, so it makes them uncomfortable, so that leads to hate, and it leads to this endless cycle. So, yeah, it needs to be taught. I don't see you being up in arms when kids get sent to Bible school or when Bible classes became part of the curriculum in Texas. I'm sorry, but if you think being taught about a human being and the psychology behind why that human being is the way they are and why it's important that they exist and why they matter just as much as you do, if you think that that is wrong because you're worried your kid might get infected like it's some type of fucking abnormality, some type of disease, yet you're over here sending them to Bible classes, you're a fucking hypocrite. You are hating on living, breathing people while influencing your kid to believe in something that they can't conceptually understand and is a story that may not even be real. Not to mention that there are plenty of gay people and plenty of trans people that are Christian too. So no, God is not going to be a cop-out for you to hate. Now, I think if you're going to teach about this in schools, obviously you should do it at an age that is older, not like 5, but they weren't teaching it at like 5. That's just something you guys took and ran with. When you're a teenager, yes, this is something that should be taught in schools so people better understand why transgender people are the way that they are. And that understanding, maybe, will lead to less hostility, less hate, less uncomfortability, because people hate what they don't understand. Happened with gay people for a long time. Like, how many times do I gotta teach you this lesson, old man? It happened with black people. We did the same thing with black people. We did the same thing with women. Then it was gays. Now it's transgenders. What the fuck? But you know what I admire about transgender people? Is they stay who they are. Even if it means being hated by 98% of the fucking world. And to me, that makes them more real than most of you. Most of you, what do? You treat people like shit on the daily, then you get on your knees at night and you pray for forgiveness and act like you're a good person when in reality you're not. I would call that being fake, wouldn't you? At least a trans person is staying true to who they are. At least they ain't sitting here being some fake-ass McGee hoping to get into the pearly gates. God makes us how we are, correct? So why would you hate somebody for being what God made them to be? It's really shitty that these large influencers, and so many of them are so right-leaning and just say the worst thing about transgenders and specifically target the youth. And It's the person, it's the people like the person that commented. Their bravery to stick to being who they are. That hopefully one day will lead to this being normal. Because it is normal. Meanwhile, alpha classes are sitting here telling you to sit a certain way, not let a woman drive, blah fucking blah, worry about all this shit, worry about all that, learning how to be incompetent and not comfortable with yourselves, when I would argue that a trans man is more alpha than you. You just don't understand it because you weren't taught about it. I don't give a shit what your religious beliefs are. If that's your excuse for hating a trans person, you're an idiot. Sorry. I said I would be kind. That's as mean as I'll get. You're not going to use God as a cop-out to hate on somebody. God is not proud of you for hating gay people. I can promise you that. God is not proud of you for... I don't believe it. God is not proud of you for treating people like shit and being prejudiced as fuck and then getting on your knees. God is not proud of you for that. I can promise you that. God sees all. I believe that he knows you. And I believe that he knows what's in your heart. And a lot of you think that you can manipulate him. You think that you can just be as shitty as humanly possible and then get on your knees and ask for forgiveness and that works. And I refuse to believe that that's how religion works. I refuse to believe that you can be as shitty as humanly possible and still get into heaven just because you got on your knees that night. The reason why I'm bringing religion into this is because most people that hate on trans people are religious, but people that are actually true Christians don't, because they recognize exactly what I'm saying. I'm talking about the two-faced assholes that live their lives the opposite of, the literal opposite of integrity. Just live their lives as these walking piles of shit, judgmental pieces of shit, screaming because they got too much ketchup on their McDouble, hating transgenders, hating black people, hating this, go Trump. And then you think you're going to get in heaven for that. You hate living, breathing people in front of you for a fictional idea that you don't even know is real. See, we can debate whether religion is real or not. You don't get to debate whether trans people are real or not, because they are. Bitch every Black History Month. Bitch every June. I can honestly say without a shadow of a doubt, if I was trans, I would probably get fired. Doesn't matter that I'm a hardworking single dad, and it doesn't matter that I got put through hell and back to figure out a solution for how to pay bills. No, I would get one starred into oblivion. I know that, because 80% of customers I get try forcing me into a religious conversation or a Trump conversation. I could not imagine being trans. Because if I was, it would just be an immediate 1 star. A black person had a 3.80, dude. 3.80. If you don't work for Uber, then you just don't understand how low that is, man. That means like, because this is out of 500 reviews, that means like 300 of them had to be 1 stars for being nothing more than a black person. He was kind, he was sweet. I even let him play some music. And that's drivers rating the customer bad. That's other Uber drivers rating the customer bad just because he's black, or rating, customers bad just because they're Hispanic. So like, yeah, dude. With how many times I've been forced into a political corner and been treated like shit because I don't agree with the people around here, I just form my beliefs based on facts. I could not imagine being trans on top of that. I think I would have gotten bullied more in my childhood. I don't really think that would have made much of a difference in my childhood because I was already outcasted for not thinking like my parents. But as an adult, I would probably have to move. That's just real shit. And that's insane to think about. Oh yeah. You want to know something interesting? What was the big thing that people bitched about trans people that that opens the door for creeps to use the wrong restroom? Every single day, I go into a gas station or a supermarket for Instacart, and I'll see a guy knock on the door at the restroom. It'll be busy, and then I'll walk straight into the women's bathroom. That's real shit. So much for caring about that. The point of this video is to, A, comment through I think you're fucking awesome. I think you're brave for coming to me and asking me to talk about this. I think you're brave for standing to who you are, and I aspire to be more like you. I aspire to stay true to myself. If this channel blows up, I always want to remain true to myself and be more like you. And hopefully the shit that you have had to endure won't be in vain. Hopefully we actually get to a place where this is normal. Because it is, man. It is. Just because you don't want to believe it doesn't make it any less so. Just because you want to believe the earth is flat doesn't mean it isn't fucking round. So, dismiss facts, blame God for it, do what you will. Get mad at this video, I don't care. The worst thing you've had to deal with today is not getting that sweater you wanted, while a trans person in this state would get fired for just existing. I want you to actually think about that. But why is that? And it's because of lack of understanding, because people don't understand it. And that is because we are not taught about it. And that was a big thing, is that when they asked me to think about myself and how this would lead to different outcomes, my first thought process was, well, I can't imagine what it would be like to be that because I don't understand the psychology behind it, because I'm ignorant to it, because I haven't been taught enough about it. And that not being taught, but even without being taught about it, I still know that these people exist. It doesn't make me uncomfortable. And I don't choose to hate them because I don't understand it. I just wish I understood it more, and I wish that it was taught. Yeah, no, your kid isn't going to get infected by the gay, dude. That's not how that shit works. But they might find them true selves. Yeah, they might. Do you have any idea how many trans people are out there right now pretending to not be trans? A lot. And that's thanks to you for making them feel so ashamed for being who they are. Meanwhile, who they are is braver than anything you'll ever be. So, start treating them with more respect. I don't give a fuck that you don't believe it. It's real. So, you're choosing to not believe in facts, and you're choosing to treat a group of people like shit because you don't believe in facts. That makes you not only ignorant, that makes you willfully ignorant, which makes you an asshole. So, and I think the fact that this person just wanted me to make a video about it, just to open the door for that conversation, just to spread some kindness. They didn't want me to get on here and start cussing and roast you like I do in my political videos. They didn't want me to get mean. They just simply wanted me to open the door for that conversation after enduring a lifetime of bullshit. And considering most of you couldn't comprehend just no, like, I have seen so many people just like, they don't get the pair of shoes they want, and that's their entire, that's their week. They gotta go to therapy now because of the most just whatever shit. And then you turn around and treat trans people like this. It's amazing that they have the strength to keep going, but not only keep going, want to be kind to others, want to be kind to you, even though you don't deserve it. This person is a bigger man than I, and transgenders are more real than 90% of you. Think about that when you're praying tonight. And I just want to thank the commenter for having the courage to ask me to make a video about this. And anybody that ever, wants me to talk about something, feel free to shoot. And it means a lot that this is a place where people can feel safe and talk about these things. Because they need to be talked about. They're not. It's either one extreme or the other. And good for you, And keep being yourself. You'll inspire many. And I'm proud of you for being who you are. You make the world a better place. And your bravery hopefully pays off one day. Love you guys. Bye.